Greetings and welcome to this week's Prime Insight. My name is Gavin. I'm the Marketing Director here at Blast One. Each year, Blast One visits more client job sites than all our global competitors combined. That's thousands and thousands of projects over the years, and we do this to both consult and to learn. And when it comes to productivity, we can definitely state the golden rule of productivity is the absolute first principle. It's what gets measured gets managed. The trap that most companies fall into, and the reason they can't break through certain thresholds of productivity, is they're not measuring enough variables. So we're going to discuss 3 different levels of metric awareness that correspond to 3 levels of different productivity. I'm going to reveal 3 productivity tactics that will increase your productivity by up to 30%, and one of them you can easily start implementing today. First, it's common for all companies to measure things like employee work hours, amount of abrasive used, equipment downtime, fuel consumption, but typically that's only measured on a weekly basis or sometimes only at the end of the job, when it's too late to improve by then. These are basic metrics that give you a bare minimum understanding of your productivity. The next level of productivity measures not only the previous items, but things like nozzle pressure, nozzle wear, of course your atmospheric conditions, your metering valve wear, the right grade of abrasives, maintenance schedules, and all those measurements deal with either the tools of the trade or job site conditions. And let's say for productivity's sake, all those items will be measured and then optimized. So what would you measure next? How do you increase your productivity beyond just optimizing those variables? The third and highest level of productivity measures not only the tools and conditions, but also how the workers are utilizing those tools and conditions. Let me explain with 3 examples. The final one we recommend you implement today. Start it today. First example. Measure the individual blast operators to determine the actual amount of time the nozzles are running. This is accomplished with blast timers hooked into their deadman lines. These measurements are very illuminating. You may have a team of 3 blasters who worked an 8-hour shift, but what percentage of that shift was actual blasting? How do you know for sure? On a lot of job sites, a substantial amount of time is spent on unproductive work that might involve shifting scaffold, prepping, filling pots with abrasive, lunch breaks, and those sorts of things. Without exception, every customer we've met that's put a blast timer in place has gotten more productivity out of their teams. Not because they're pushing people harder, not because they're overdriving their workers, but because management now becomes aware of those little issues that chip away at true nozzle time. Management begins to see the startling impact of having to move scaffolding, which may take away hours. Realising the effect this has on nozzle time, the idea of renting a boom lift, which originally may seem an unnecessary expense, now makes financial sense. It will increase productivity and nozzle time will increase. Here's another common scenario. Let's pretend nozzle time is low. You question the blaster and you discover his blast pot only lasts for 45 minutes to an hour before he must stop and refill. He then takes a smoke break and moves his hoses, and you've lost 20 minutes of blast time in the process. 20 minutes every hour for an 8-hour shift is 2 hours and 40 minutes of lost productivity. It makes more financial sense then to upgrade to a bulk pot and keep your team active rather than having to constantly refill the small pots. What gets measured gets managed. Example 2 deals with blast room environments. Most companies, when they design a blast room, give great focus and attention to making sure the room is the right size, and almost no deliberation is spent on materials handling. Materials handling in a blast room environment is a method in which you bring your work product in and out of the booth. Getting your materials handling right can potentially deliver 10 to 30% improvement in productivity. Moving items in and out of the booth is a non-productive activity. It is necessary, but non-productive. If your team only has 1 work cart, after 1 job is complete, they will need to spend time removing the product from the blast room, unloading the cart, and loading the next product onto the cart, and then delivering it back into the room before they can start blasting again. Depending on the size of the material, this might take 5 to 30 minutes. In the meantime, the blasting equipment is idle and you're not earning money. It will be more cost effective to have additional work carts with the product already loaded so the transition between jobs is minimal. What gets measured gets managed. Finally, example 3, this is something you should start implementing today, is to insist on daily reports from your blasters. Now it may seem we're talking about paperwork, but that's not what we're suggesting. We like to refer to as uncovering what made my job difficult today. It's the WMMJDT. What made my job difficult today? And here's how it works. At the end of each day, a blaster reports, each blaster, the nozzle hours they have blasted from their nozzle. So ideally, using those blast timers they've installed on their dead man. And then explain the number if it's below a set threshold, say 6 hours. For example, blaster 1, Mark, logs 4 hours and reports he spent half his day trying to fix the blast hose that was down. Vince, blaster 2, lost 2 hours filling his small blast pot. It's important to do this daily, when the reasons are still clear in the blaster's memory. If you try and log this nozzle time at the end of the week, memories get cloudy as to what, well, we had issues with the compressor on Tuesday, or was that last week? Sometimes they just forget the little distractions that make them less productive. Waiting until the end of the week also prevents you from correcting something early on, and in the meantime, productivity suffers. With a daily What Made My Job Difficult report, which could be as simple as a whiteboard or a large piece of paper on the wall, your teams can now reveal those legitimate problems, and hopefully management will be able to recognise patterns and implement solutions to eliminate those problems. In doing so, you'll not only make your workers' jobs easier, you'll increase overall productivity and profit. What gets measured gets managed. Finally, here are 3 things you can do today to help your overall productivity. First, insist on daily reports and find out what's making your team's job difficult. They'll appreciate this and your productivity will increase. Second, order some blast timers from Blast One. They're very easy to install and our customer service will be happy to explain how to do it. And 3, optimize your equipment. Pay attention to how your workers actually use that equipment. Remember, if you want to improve your productivity, what gets measured gets managed. Thanks for watching this week's Prime Insight. We'll see you next week.